one ambassador is another diplomat again. Actually saying something that will be interesting to you to actually make a comment on. Let's go on. Let's go to that, and thereafter we'll come to talk about it.
Might be wrong, but certainly it's going to be a very stormy 4 years globally. But for Nigeria, look, I've always maintained for many years that we have a very cordial, we have cordial relationship with the United States, but we are not a strategic partner. We like to use that word, but we are not a strategic partner to the United States. When it suits the United States, they consult us on the issues they want to consult, us with. But globally, Africa itself is at the periphery of global politics. And nothing will change much under Donald Trump. Remember when he was president, he only sent a team to Africa. And in fact, he sacked the Secretary of State. Remember while he was visiting Nigeria, who does that? You say, yes, he sacked him here.
Barrister, before we continue, can you comment on that? He sacked the Secretary of State while he was in, and so what? Where he was supposed to sack him? That's my problem. Why was he supposed to sack? I don't get it.
Is that of importance?
That's the point.
On that discussion.
This is an ambassador. He was an ambassador to the U.S. for Nigerian ambassador to the U.S. I don't get it, Barrister.
Why is that an issue in the topic under discussion?
That is the point.
Did he know the workings of the American presidency that time? Whether even he was not supposed to be in a particular country where he was? That issue ought not to be put into the calculus at all.
Did you hear what he said before that even? That the war will not remain the same. I don't get it. You enumerated in the last topic we discussed. You enumerated everything, the good side of the benefits of Donald Trump's presidency in 4 years. That there was peace all over the world. All over the world. He's been recorded in how many years now? It's in history that he is the only president that never started any war. Since I think George Bush, the first George Bush. Yeah? So I don't get it. Why these people are just peddling falsehood?
We don't want the world to be the same. What is the world now? Wars that threaten the peace of the whole world. The war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, has the capacity to destroy the whole world if it continues and bring in other people. The war in the Middle East has the capacity to become a regional war whereby foreign powers will also come in, and eventually it can go around throughout the world. So why do we want the present situation to continue? If somebody comes to change the present situation, and we have seen his antecedents in the past, where he brought peace to the world for 4 years, why are we complaining? Why should we complain? Why can't we give him a chance to restore peace to the world? Is he saying that the world will change for the worse?
That is hold on. Okay, let me play on. That's exactly what he's trying to say. Let's play on.
He sacked him here. The guy was in Abuja when he was relieved of his...
mobile.
Yes. So we should expect that, again, we are going to go through a period in which, for Donald Trump, Africa and Nigeria will probably not be a priority, but will not be on his priority list.
All right.
Barrister, before we go to the next, the presenter, one of the presenters, the lady asked him a question, but before we go into that, now, can you tell me why this man is a nationalist? Can you tell me why Nigeria should be, or Africa should be, on his priority list? Tell me why.
Exactly. Was Nigeria or Africa on the priority list of Joe Biden's government?
Oh, that's the point. That's another point. So,
and then secondly, these people are not fools. They see that we cannot put our things together, our affairs together. They see our corruption. They will see our nonsense. They see the kind of rubbish that we do here. How do we sell ourselves? We have to sell ourselves. We are supposed to be the biggest country in Africa and to drive the issues in Africa. But are we doing that? We are messing up, and then we want some people to take us serious. How have we sold ourselves to the powers in the world? We have sold ourselves short. We have shown that we cannot, by ourselves, organize ourselves, put our house in order. Are we now blaming a foreign country if they don't take us serious, if they don't put us into the equation? It does not make sense. Let us come back, put our house in order, put our affairs in order, demonstrate capacity. Then everybody will take notice, because Nigeria is large in population and landmass. By the time we put our house in order, everybody in the world will take notice. But until that is done, we will be laughed at backstages in the corridors of power throughout the world. So what he's saying is absolute nonsense.
Honestly, you are absolutely correct. And secondly, for God's sake, Nigeria, this issue of, I hate it when people always expect so much from foreign countries, especially from the West. I don't understand. We have everything it takes for us to be at par with the world superpowers economically. We have some of these world superpowers, they don't even have the kind of resources we have. Because what we are talking about, Nigeria has, I think I wrote an article some years ago where I pointed out the number of solid minerals we have in Nigeria on commercial quantity. I think globally on Earth we have about 60 something solid minerals on Earth. Nigeria we have about 53, maybe 52 found in Nigeria on commercial quantity. Tell me, and now we have oil, liquid, we have liquid resources as well. We are the 6th or the 7th now. I think we used to be the 6th. I think now we are the 7th largest oil producing nation in the world. For God's sake, we have all it takes, both human, natural resources, to actually stand shoulder to shoulder with the global forces, with the global economic powers. Yet we keep hoping and expecting stipends, handouts from these superpowers, especially the US. I don't get it, for God's sake. Why can't we take what we have to achieve what we need? Or instead of depending on expecting one US president or the other to come into the power and into power rather, and hand us out some stipend, peanuts. And this peanut they are handing out, remember, they are taking 100 times more than what they are giving to us. Because they are milking and fleecing Nigeria. So if the little they are even giving to us in comparison to what they are taking, it is nothing. They are exploiting us. Anyway, I think let's continue and we'll talk about it further.
Right. So, a lot of people are looking forward to a degree of global stability with regards to an end to wars. So, as you've said, the president of Ukraine might not be so excited because, the cash cow that he had in Biden in making sure he was financed to buy ammunition and weapons for the war, that might end. That war might be brought to a close. And then, as much as people are saying that China might be unhappy about a Trump presidency, there's some other analysts who are saying that China and Russia are going to celebrate today because NATO might decline in its influence because Trump insists that everybody should pay their dues. So in terms of peace and war, I know Jim Dimon had said that we already are in a third world war. What do you think the outlook of peace and the end to the current conflicts we see in the world looks like?
You know, one of those things that Trump did not clearly define during the campaign was how he was going to deal with the crisis you've mentioned. His classical response was always, anytime the issue of Ukraine comes up, his classical answer was, Putin is my friend.
24 hours.
Huh?
He would say you end the war in 24
Putin is my
hours.
friend. I will end the war in 24 hours. The war in Gaza, he says I will end it before, my inauguration. Of course, we all know that that is not possible. And the Ukrainians are probably going through a nightmare now, because is he going to ask Ukraine to simply kowtow and hand over their territory to the
most likely
to the Russians? They won't do it. So Ukraine might just, depend mostly now on the Europeans. As for paying more bills, yes, of course, everybody has, upgraded their payment. But the truth of the matter is that for me, it's going to be a stormy relationship, all throughout, because the Europeans will not give up Ukraine. And I really don't know how Trump will handle it, because he never gave any clear indication on how we deal with some of these global problems. Yes, you're right. The Russians will be happy. North Korea will be happy. Russia will be happy, because they can, they have a really good relationship with him, as he said, and that's the way they are going to work.
I mean, pretty much looks like the plan, because some of this were even further talked about in Bob Woodward's new book called War. But I'd like to ask and say, in a case, yes, Trump is elected.
Okay. Yeah, Barrister. The truth is, I don't get it. I don't know if these people were around where they were born when Trump ruled America for 4 years. I don't know if they actually, and if they were born then, if they actually followed through what his achievements were or are, because those achievements are still, some of them are still prevalent today. Now, I don't know if they have forgotten that this guy is a gifted master strategist, a gifted negotiator, who in his 4 years, he performed magic in various ways when it comes to negotiation. He starts something, he says something and starts something. People will say, but my God, so people have tried this. How can he come? So many people, some people bigger than him, better than him, have tried to do this or do that. They did not succeed. How come he will, or whatever? Everything he stepped his foot on to do, people criticized him and shut him down. And at the end of the day, he succeeded in those things. He struck a deal with trade deals all over the world, with China, with Canada, and including Europe, oil deal, natural gas, liquefied natural gas. Now we talk about peace. This Abraham Accord. It was an unprecedented peace accord, where you have Saudi Arabia eventually recognizing Israel as a nation officially, and also opened up their airspace, their airport for both countries to actually fly, both countries to communicate with each other through air transportation. So, and that is the reality. Apart from that, we have the UAE, the Bahrain, and which other, there are about 3 or 4 countries, Kuwait, right? There was this Abraham Accord, the man actually orchestrated. That accord was, and that accord is still on, even though we have, they are trying to, Joe Biden's government have tried to actually puncture that. Because of this Gaza war, of course, Saudi Arabia pulled back from what they were trying to do with they pulled back from the solidification of their relationship with Israel somehow diplomatically, even though the prince does not backdoor in the secret. The prince is against. He doesn't care what is happening in Gaza. That does the truth. He doesn't care. He's after his own country's interest. So, Barrister, what is your take on what that man just said, the ambassador, former ambassador?
Again, I would liken it to people who give a dog a bad name so that they can rubbish it. Let's take the issue of Ukrainian war. By now, it is apparent, it's very obvious, even within the current U.S. administration, it is, and the European government is recognized.
I'm sorry, before you continue, let me add this question. Let me add this question, Barrister. Do you think that Putin and Xi Jinping of of China and what's his name? This little rocket man, North Korean president. Do you think who do you think they will be happy to see to be the U.S. president? Is it Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Definitely Kamala Harris and Biden, for the simple reason that they know them, they are predictable, and the reason Trump is feared and respected is his unpredictability. A person who has the kind of power like the U.S. has, if you cannot predict him, then he's more dangerous than any other person. And that is why you see all these people were in some sort of, they fell in line. As soon as Joe Biden came, they knew what they can project. They knew how he could react, how he could take steps. And they fashioned their policies and their actions accordingly. So they don't have much respect or fear for Joe Biden, and they will not have for Kamala Harris. But they have for Donald Trump because of his unpredictability, which is a key factor in international relations and international affairs. Coming back to Ukraine, they are making a lot of issue. When it's apparent to everybody that Ukraine is not going anywhere in the war, it's not achieving any aims, despite the support of about 39 countries of NATO. They have not gone anywhere. Rather, Russia has been gaining the upper hand. And remember, when the war started, the whole cry in America, in Europe was, give the Ukrainians Stinger missiles and the war would be over. They supplied the Stinger missiles, the war was not over. Give them Abraham's tank, give them Centurion tanks, give them these German tanks. What is that German tank? The war will be over. They gave them all these tanks, the war was not over. Give them F-16s and they will overrun the Russians. The war is not over. Give them ATACMS, give them shadow missiles and all. They have given them all what they can give. And still Russia is gaining the upper hand. Doesn't that suggest that sense to come into the issue and stop the needless death of millions of people, particularly in Ukraine? The country is being depopulated. Able-bodied people are running away from fighting. They are conscripting, they are forcing them to fight. Millions of them, 9 million, have fled the country. How do you continue a war in such a situation? Doesn't common sense, dictate that peace should be negotiated and the war brought to an end? That is what Donald Trump wants. On the other hand, what is the strategy of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden? Where are they going with the war when they know that Ukraine cannot overrun Russia and it is accepted within U.S. military cycles that Ukraine cannot even recover the territories it lost? So where is the strategy in the war? Or is it just that the war should continue for as long as possible, let millions and millions of people die? It is Donald Trump that is bringing common sense, to the war in Europe and even the war in the Middle East. Those who are challenging him and say he has no this thing are the people who are not making sense, as far as I'm concerned. So
you're absolutely right. Let me read this. Sorry to cut you short. Let me read this article so you can just talk about everything together. This is from Mogalu. What's his name? Professor Mogalu. I don't know what is wrong. what is wrong with not only our professors all over the world, but because even in the US, the professors are not even making sense. They open their mouth to talk about something, they are not making sense. So why I don't understand. They should just rather face their academic life instead of just coming out to blab over something that doesn't make sense. Now, let me read this. The president of Rwanda-based African School of Governance, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, has explained reasons why Vice President Kamala Harris lost to former President Donald Trump. Professor Moghalu identified sexism, economic perception, the white working class, and Trump's personality as factors that led to Harris' loss on Tuesday. In a statement on Wednesday, the former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, stated that Americans were not ready for a female president. Moghalu argued that while Harris was campaigning for economic prosperity, inflation was going up during the period. Sexism, Americans are not ready yet for a female president. Perceptions of the economy, inflation that's coming down, but was high for most of the campaign season. Harris could not overcome the skepticism of the white working class. Many reasons for this, including both racism and sexism. Obama overcame racism, but his mother was white, and the timing was propitious. Okay, Barrister, what have you got? This is Moghalu. It's a mixed thing. There are some things he said here that are true, and some things I think he started from just nonsense. He talked about sexism and he talked about racism. Do you think sexism and racism? Because I made a monologue on this topic, this issue of America is not ready for. Now, on my monologue, what I said on my monologue was that America is ready for U.S. president, a female president in the U.S., but the female folks are not ready to actually take the bull by the horn. Barrister, what is your thought on that?
Let's take sexism first.
Yes.
That is just bullshit. If they look back to 2016 election, Hillary Clinton actually got majority votes, more votes than Donald Trump. It was only in the Electoral College that Donald Trump was able to win. So to say that Americans are not ready for a female president is contradicted by the majority of Americans who voted for Hillary Clinton back in 2016 by a wide margin. Now, come back to Kamala Harris. There are many states that have voted for Kamala Harris by a wide margin. The fact that she is defeated cannot be put down to sexism. There are more serious factors for her defeat than just say, oh, she's a woman. What of the millions of votes, the states that she won? Were they not looking at her as a woman? Now, coming to racism, again, you look at Barack Obama was a black man of mixed parentage, just like Kamala Harris is also of mixed parentage. She is not entirely black. So the issue of racism is not there as such. The problem is an American lady that will be president has not yet shown up. Hillary Clinton came very near to that, but her baggage, her personal and private baggage,
correct,
in the end, defeated her. It was not because she was a woman. It was her antecedents and her personal baggage. And the same thing can be said of Kamala Harris. There is a point that a lot of people did not, it could not be said in the public. Only a few people were able to say it. But I think a lot of people in their own mind, why not voicing it out, put it into consideration? There was this perception that the rise of Kamala Harris was because of being a woman, that she had sold or bought favors as a woman. That, although it was not spoken out in public, I think it was also in the subconscious of a lot of people that this woman rose by selling herself. And they look back to first when she became a district attorney. And the person who promoted her, who was her boyfriend, an elderly man who was her boyfriend and who brought her into politics and continued to promote her. Those things resonated. But if you see people who did in-depth analysis, it's not boiled down to one. There's a lot of issues within the American society. The economy, people are paying more for groceries. And when it comes to perception of the economy, from day one, even with Joe Biden, it was fact contrasting Trump's 4 years with these 4 years. I think they felt that the economy was better. They were better off during Trump than during Biden. And they cannot separate Biden from Harris. He did not separate herself. She did not separate herself from Biden. They did not see any difference between her and Joe Biden, between her policies and Joe Biden's policies. So if you want to talk about the reason why there are a whole lot of reasons. And not to talk of continuous bashing of white American men. That also is bound to backfire. There's a lot of things that the undercurrent that went into her defeat. Even within, you can see the mud that is being thrown now. Just yesterday, the former speaker, Nancy Pelosi, he put it down to the fact that when Joe Biden stepped down, she was expecting a primary so that other candidates could also be thrown up. And there was no Joe Biden's immediate endorsement of Kamala Harris foreclosed any primary for other people to come up and show up. And that did not resonate well with a lot of people. So there are a lot of reasons for that. I don't think we should take the easy way out and say, oh, because she's a woman or because she's a black woman, that's why she lost. I don't think we should go that easy. We should look deeper.
Honestly, you have said it all. Like I said, yes, you're right. Like I said earlier, America is prepared for a female president, but the female folks are not prepared to actually take the bull by the horn. That's just the truth. The two female candidates that came close to that, both of them have baggages, negative baggages. Hillary have a lot of baggages. Benghazi corruption case with Clinton Foundation and so many other stuff, and administrative corruption here and there. Then Kamala again, the same thing: corruption and ineptitude and the daftness. That does it. That man. I consider Kamala. I rate her as the worst presidential candidate U.S. has ever produced. That woman is just a dollant. Honestly, she's a dollant. And some people are telling me that people are now saying that the Americans made mistake. Oh my God! Americans, in fact, they have behaved the smartest form that one can ever imagine. They have proven to the world that they can be first, that they are not fools.
She never was a viable candidate in the first place. Remember, just let me add this point. Remember, honestly. Remember when she...
Yes, quickly, because we have spent too much time on this.
When she launched her presidential campaign, he was pulling in the 1 percentage point, and she had to drop out. She had no credibility. She had no viability.
Yeah, of course.
Her endorsement by Biden made other people to rally around her for the sake of the party gaining power. It's not because they believed in her at all.
Honestly. All right, Barrister, thank you so very much.